I love numbers. Don't you guys love numbers? Try and guess my favorite number. I'll give you a second. It's 16. Did you guess 16? I bet you didn't guess 16. Now, of course, I'm no stranger to numbers, and I definitely understand the overcompetitive nature of music streaming these days. But you know what I don't like about numbers? They kind of control everything in the music industry. From streams to views to likes, numbers are just everywhere. And while I understand that yes, like an artist is just doing their job, at the end of the day, music is an art, and this obsession with numbers that we have these days might just be holding us back. Today, we're going to look deeper into this obsession with metrics with both artists and listeners, the influence and incentives of these streaming platforms, and how fan-driven streaming campaigns can shape the charts as we see them. And hopefully by the end of this, we can understand how important it is for artists to focus on their art rather than the data. Before we get into all that though, let me first introduce myself. Hi, welcome to my channel where I talk about music and music-related things that I find interesting. I talk about artists, albums, events, and observations that I find in the music world. So if that's something that you guys seem to be into, you're welcome to like, subscribe, and stick around for a little while. Okay, now let's talk numbers. Patrick McGuire, writer and musician, pointed out that there's one fundamental flaw in how music success is measured these days. In the past, these metrics have been measured by things like radio plays, physical media sales, and concert attendance, which shows us just a glimpse of an artist's popularity. But in this digital age that we now live on with platforms like Spotify and Apple Music, the obsession of streams, likes, and followers have turned into the main currency of the industry. Now here's the main issue with this. The numbers don't exactly reflect the music. When an artist is chasing these metrics, their creativity, artistry, and personal expression kind of end up taking a back seat. We see this happen quite a bit on apps like TikTok and Instagram, where smaller artists try to emulate other popular artists or trending audios, rather than taking inspiration and making their own sound. The algorithm and trends tend to dictate what gets seen, with no regard of what's actually good or meaningful, which of course is subjective, but still. And of course, social media can be good to boost the platforms of lesser-known artists. I mean, look at Chappell Roan and Sabrina Carpenter selling out arenas in literal minutes when like a year ago they were selling out smaller venues. McGuire states that lamenting over low stream counts or trying to shape new music over old sounds that had done well will make your creative life so much harder as a musician. It's this over-reliance of social media that introduces a cycle of artists shaping their music to fit a social media standard, what some people like to call a TikTokification of music, instead of exploring their own authentic ideas. This tends to lead to a sort of chart obsession. Now, I'll just say, most of the examples used in this video come from behaviors of K-pop stans, and while this isn't a reflection of all K-pop stans, and none of this is inherently like a bad thing, you guys are welcome to stream whatever songs you want, however many times you want, and at the end of the day, nobody really cares. Like, it's not that serious. It's just something that we want to discuss here. Like, don't worry guys, you're gonna be fine. But anyways, Bob Owinski, writer for Forbes, highlights how far fans will go to achieve streaming records in his article, When Does a Music Stream Really Count? He uses the example of BTS when their song Dynamite had dropped, as it shattered every possible record with 101 million views on YouTube within the first 24 hours. This came with a twist though. Spotify had only recorded 7.8 million streams in their charts. Now, of course, I can already hear you asking, why did they do this? And don't worry, I'm here with all the answers for you. So basically, Spotify as a platform limits, or at least at the time they limited, the impact of a listener's use of the repeat or loop button to prevent artificial streams or stream inflation. But of course, fans found a way to dodge this by making streaming playlists and streaming a song or an album broken up with other songs rather than looping the same song consistently, so there would be like breaks in between in a playlist. And they created these things called like streaming campaigns where they would have full-on rules on how to better stream a song to bypass these rules. In a little streaming guide that I found online, it says that the key is to act more like a human, less like a robot. Of course, like play shuffle on a playlist and interact with the platform, like a song, skip a song, or change up the playlist or your volume. And that it's very important not to loop a song directly. While music is amazing, looping the song will not help the stream count, and to instead create a playlist with the song in it multiple times, but put 3 or 4 songs in between the same song. But now, this raised a rather fascinating question. Where do we draw the line between fan super streaming and chart manipulation? Unlike obvious stream farms, which is streaming fraud, Coordinated streaming campaigns show a gray area where the line is blurred between genuine support for an artist and manufacturing of their own charts. But they are more similar to older practices of music heads, such as buying multiple copies of a CD or continuously calling radio stations with requests for a song. And while not all listeners are plugged in 24/7, there is that 1% that really likes music and is just listening to something all the time. Not me, of course, but, you know, other people. But it's now where we enter a streaming dilemma. When does it become personalization? And when is it homogenization? In his Pitchfork essay, The Woes of Being Addicted to Streaming Services, Jeremy D. Larson looks at how streaming platforms and social media have added a whole new layer to this game of numbers. There's a sort of illusion of personalization at these platforms promised to their viewers, where they have algorithms that look like they give you exactly what you want to hear, but in reality, they're all built to serve the interests of the industry, not your own musical curiosity. We've seen this happen as recent as this summer when Spotify was constantly pushing espresso on their platform.
Spotify listener, and welcome to our new feature Illusion, where you get to make song choices. First, let's pick a song for your commute to work. Espresso, great choice. Let's go. Hey, what music should we listen to while we work? You're wondering if there's different options? Well, AI is recommending 30% of songs streamed on Spotify, and they know you best, so let's see what they recommend. Dude, great choice. We are literally working late.
And Larson goes on to further explain that these algorithms and social medias like TikTok can create a feedback loop where songs will resurface after years and become disproportionately popular than the rest of the album. Take an example like Harness Your Hopes by Pavement. It was a trending song on TikTok for months and has 178 million streams, where the rest of the songs on the album average at around 2 million streams. It's situations like this where people see a trending song and they listen to it only for that 10 seconds of audio that's all over their For You page. It flattens the emotional and cultural connections that are meant to be bound to music, because after all, it is an art form. Rather, this turns it more into a product for consumption, which ends up stripping it away from that feeling of discovery that there is where you find a new song or a new album to enjoy. There's also a larger shift from physical media to the digital age that's changed the way that we engage with music as a whole. Before, listening had to be more intentional. You know, you would buy an album, you would hold the record in your hand while you would put it on to play. But now, it's just too easy to scroll past another song or two and rely on already curated playlists by platforms, not having to really connect to the music that you listen to. So, where do we go from here? I think that the main key is to shift the focus from numbers back to creativity. Success isn't all about topping the charts or breaking records, though of course that is very cool for an artist and can be extremely monumental. But it's about making meaningful music and finding an authentic fan base at the end of the day. I think sometimes artists just need to ask themselves, is the music they're putting out really driven by passion, or are they just trying to hop on the latest trend? Larson continues with this by encouraging listeners to embrace their own intentionality, you know, to skip the pre-made playlists every now and then, to search for a new album or explore a new genre, and most importantly, he tells music listeners to reconnect with the joy of discovering music again. Because at the end of the day, true success in music isn't measured by numbers, it's measured by a lasting impact that art has on people. Whether you're an artist or a fan, there's a real magic that happens when your music resonates deeply with someone beyond any chart or playlist. So what do you guys think? Are we really too obsessed with metrics, or do they have a proper place in today's music world? Let me know what you guys thought about this video. I know it was more just me dumping all my thoughts about a certain subject, but you know, we need that kind of interaction every now and again. I would love to know your guys' thoughts about this. What do you think about music streaming? Do you think it's going too far? Do you think it's not competitive enough? I would love to know. Don't forget to follow my socials. My username is headphone emoji on everything now. I finally got my Instagram changed. And I'll see you guys in the next video, hopefully. Bye!